The teaser list for Magic's upcoming Baldur's Gate set has just been revealed, and it looks like not only are we finally getting Elminster, but we're also getting a 10/10 flyer for 1 green mana.
Magic. I am a wizard! History. I'm an old wizard! The magic historian. My bones hurt.
Greetings! Owners of fine luxury cardboard rectangles, my friends! I hope the day finds you well because we have gathered for some juicy Baldur's Gate teaser action. Now, if you're not aware of how this works, every time a new set is coming along, Mark Rosewater releases a list of teasers. Now, unlike spoilers, these are just a partial view into cards, either a little bit of the text, a creature type, something like that, to fuel our imagination. But here's the thing, when it comes to Baldur's Gate, it's experienced a leak that is unlike most other leaks in Magic's history, and as a result, we already know like half the cards in the set. So it's much easier to pinpoint what of these abilities actually correspond to cards we already know. However, I recognize there are people who just want to be teased and do not want to have the spoilers. So we're going to go through the teaser list in the normal fashion without specifically referencing spoiled cards. And if you're somebody who's trying to avoid spoilers, bear in mind, down in the comment section, there is guaranteed to be people who will say, this ability corresponds to this card. This creature type corresponds to this card, because people like to solve things. So avoid the comment section if you don't want full-on spoilers. That being said, let us dive in to the teaser list. The first thing that Rosewater says is there's a returning mechanic that feels apropos for D&D that makes use of a new card type. So essentially it's saying they're taking a mechanic that already exists in Magic the Gathering, they're bringing it back because it feels appropriate for the Dungeons and Dragons set, and it makes use of a new card type that may or may not have been part of the spoilers, all right? Next item on the list is a card capable of making an ox, boar, or goat. Now this to me seems like a fun concept. I picture some kind of like crazy farmer or woodsman, big woodman Gus. What's up, man? I'll make oxes and boars and goats. And the flavor text is like, don't y'all be thinking about tickling my goats. You know what I mean? Like, I like that. That's fun. The next one we have on the list is the word 7 appears on 2 cards and the word 9 appears on 1. I guess this is supposed to excite people who like big numbers on cards, but admittedly just saying the word 7 shows up on 2 cards and 9 showing up on 1 doesn't do that much for me. Literally is this supposed to be like a Borg reference? 7 of 9? So, like, that's where my brain goes with it. So that one doesn't really fire me up. But the next item, a new legendary colorless artifact token named Volo's Journal. So does this mean we're getting another version of Volo, and that Volo actually makes his own journal, right? Volo is a fun character because he's like so grandiose, right? He has this huge view of himself and he's like over the top and pompous. It's an enjoyable concept. So I'm curious to see what Volo's Journal is going to be. Is it going to be something that like summons up token creatures? And also it's interesting that it itself is an artifact token, right? Now the next item, woo, a 10/10 creature with flying, and I didn't mention this part at the beginning, but with flying and trample that you can cast for 1 green mana. Now my gut reaction when I read that was to go, okay, it's going to be some terrible card, because I'm still used to the old school way of Magic where when they make things that are like horrendously beefy and they want to give you a discount, the discount comes with some massive side effect that makes it not worth it. But I'm not taking into account the fact that Magic design has changed, and we literally could see a 10/10 flying trampler that you can cast for a green where the downside isn't that big, right? This could be some absolutely insane mythic rare, but 10/10 flying trample cast for 1 green, you got my attention all day with that, right? We don't get a lot of green good flyers in the first place. The question is it going to be like you can play this for 1 green when there's exactly 4 players in the game, things like that, you know what I mean? Because these are Commander Legend style cards. So we got to see how that goes, right? Next up, we've got a Lord for demons, devils, imps, and tieflings. Now that is a little bit different, right? Demons, devils, and imps have been a part of Magic the Gathering for a long time, but tieflings are a newer Dungeons and Dragons style race, and admittedly, I don't know a ton about them. I assume that they are some kind of crossbreed of a human and a demon, a devil, or an imp, right? I believe that they're like a player character race that you can play as, but I'm old school. When it comes to Dungeons and Dragons, my main edition was like second edition. So I be talking about Thaco. Taco about that Thaco, yo, right? The most pointlessly difficult part of Dungeons and Dragons they ever created. 2-hit armor class of 0. Maybe not the best system, but otherwise, second edition holds my heart. We never really saw tieflings back then, though. So I'm not 100% sure what they are, but you're getting a lord that will probably give +1/+1 to all 4 of these creature types, but it might be some other kind of bonus. After that, we've got the character we got a lot of complaints about not being in Adventures of the Forgotten Realms gets a card. Notice that it says the character, not a character. This is Elminster. I am stating this unequivocally as a fact, and not because the card was spoiled, because it wasn't. I'm saying it's Elminster because it's Elminster, or we riot. I will lead you all to burn them down to the ground if they do not put Elminster in the set. It's guaranteed. Who else could it be? I've seen people trying to say, oh, maybe it's Strahd or whatever else. Get out of here, dude. Elminster is the #1 choice. So many people were like, bro, where's Elminster? Are you legit putting Mordenkainen? You put Mordenkainen in this set, but not Elminster. Are you out of your mind? Like, Elminster is one of the most epic wizards of all time. From anywhere. He's incredible. And another honestly baffling thing to me about Wizards not using Elminster is based on their marketing right now. They really like putting forth the whole check it out. We've got a wide range of people playing the game, all these sort of things going on, inclusivity. And Elminster is a very inclusive wizard. He started out as a thief, right? And eventually he hated wizards originally. Basically, the goddess of magic convinced him to become a wizard. And during his journeys being a wizard, she turned him into a woman so he could spend a portion of his life as a woman, learning about the world and broadening his perspective. It legitimately feels like the type of character that they would run to put into sets. He's super iconic to everybody and also falls exactly into the sort of things they want to be promoting as well. He's like a perfect fit. So it's very, very baffling that they did not include Elminster previously to this, right? So it has to be Elminster. There's no way. It's not a character. The fact that it says the character, it must be Elminster. I state this as a fact, not as a tease, all right? Moving on. We've got 3 legendary creatures that are gods. Well, that's cool. Bringing more gods into Magic is always fun. I've always loved the idea that we are powerful planeswalkers, powerful on the level where we can summon up gods to do our bidding. That is a very epic feel, right? So, adding more gods into the game, I'm down with that. Hey, maybe you want to go god tribal, right? After that, we've got a card that enhances all creatures with mana abilities. Interesting. So there's a couple of different ways they could go with this. It could be a weird sort of thing that gives +1/+1 to all creatures that have abilities that tap to generate mana, although that feels like it would be difficult to word properly. It could be a card that says all creatures that produce mana produce an additional mana of any color they could produce. Or it could be something insane where it doubles or triples, or if Wizards is really going out of control and wants to bring the word quadruples into Magic, quadruples the amount of mana produced. I mean, bear in mind, we're doing teasers to fire up the imagination. Do I think it will quadruple? No. Could it? Yeah. All right, next item on the list. We have, what does it say here? A spell that can copy something X times. Okay, so it's probably like one of those red copy style spells. It's basically I don't know, 1 red 2 or 1 red 1 and X. I don't know what the right casting would be, but maybe 3 and X, copy target spell X times. You may choose new targets for the copy, or maybe it'll be something like, pay X life, flip X coins for every coin toss that comes up, copy the spell. I don't know how crazy they're going to get with it, right? There's a lot of options when you get this little bit of text. Next up, we've got rules text that will be showing up on some cards. So, This spell costs 1 less to cast for each opponent you're attacking. That makes sense. We're going to have abilities in the set based on swinging against multiple people, right? Because when it comes to Commander, the cards aren't so much designed for one-on-one play. There is competitive Commander play, but that's not what Wizards seems to focus on. And that makes sense, because if you make the cards too powerful, you're going to ruin Commander, right? So next up, we've got that artifact becomes a 0/0 homunculus artifact creature with flying. Oh, cool. Okay, so this is going to be some kind of like crazy mad mage experimenter or something like that, who can take artifacts and turn them into homunculus. And I imagine that the homunculi probably get a +1/+1 bonus or something. I imagine it's probably like each artifact creature gets +1/+1 for each other artifact creature, or each homunculi you control gets +1/+1, because I can't see this just turning artifacts into a 0/0 straight up. There's got to be something else that'll boost that power and toughness, right? Or at least the toughness. Next up, whenever you cast a spell you don't own. Ooh, now that's an interesting statement, right? So those are spells that have to come from somebody else's deck. To own anything that comes from your deck, you own. Anything that comes from your opponent's deck, you don't own. So that is very interesting, because casting spells you don't own isn't that easy. Yes, you can do it. So I'm wondering what kind of reward you get for pulling it off. After that, if you control neither creature, draw 3 cards. Okay, I'm going to guess that this is probably going to be some kind of bonus spell where you can go put 4 +1/+1 counters on 2 target creatures, all right? And then if you control neither of these creatures, draw 3 cards. So basically, I assume this is going to be some kind of boon where you bless 2 different creatures with a benefit, and as a result, if you choose not to do your own creatures, you get something else. So you can go, yo, I'm gonna boost your guy, yo, I'm gonna boost you guy, your guy, we're friends, and I'm drawing cards, right? It feels like it's got that kind of a vibe to it. After that, we've got you don't lose the game for having 0 or less life. Interesting. So it does, I mean, I guess that could be part of the bigger phrase, you can't lose the game, and you don't lose the game for having 0 or less life. Or it could be a smaller, like weaker version of the Platinum Angel ability. Wait, what's this next one here? Tokens you control have T. It just has T. I assume that's the tap symbol. So basically, I assume this is saying all your tokens gain a tap ability. The one after that is then choose a 3rd player. I have to admit, I mean, we're dealing with a Commander set. There's 4 players in Commander games, so then choose a 3rd player, a spell that can hit 3 players. That doesn't fire my imagination. After that, we've got where X is the total mana value of dragons you control. Oh, Nathan, the dragon lovers are going to be all over this, man. X is the total mana value of dragons you control. Who knows what that means, though? Gain X life based on the mana value of your dragons, a crazy amount of mana, treasure tokens, so many options. Next up, put a number of time counters on it equal to its mana value. Interesting. So, the bigger a card is, the higher its mana value is, the more time counters it would have on it. I'm going to guess that this is probably them bringing back a variation of suspend, right? That's what I'm thinking. Some kind of suspend concept. After that, you may cast your commander from the command zone without paying its mana cost. You can cast your commander without having to pay its casting cost. That's pretty crazy, because that's going to let you skip by the text, right? If I'm not mistaken, and somebody can correct me if I'm wrong on this because I'm not a commander expert, but if you don't have to pay its mana cost, doesn't that mean the additional mana that's tacked onto its cost is also covered by this? This should be a way to completely circumvent your commander tax. Seems pretty solid. After that, we've got flavor words in the set. So bear in mind that flavor words are concepts used to describe an ability that the card has. So for example, a cleric that came into play and said you gain 2 life would have the flavor words cure light wounds or heal light wounds or heal. Something like that, right? So heal magic, gain life. That's what we're going to have here. So flavor words in the set. Devour intellect. That clearly sounds like either card discard or getting to use your opponent's resources, right? Homunculus servant. I mean, okay, that's just, maybe that's something under your control. Bigby's hand. Bigby's hand? Is Bigby in here? Bigby's crushing grasp? Okay. All right. Bigby. I didn't see that before. I read this before, but I did not see that one apparently. Avoidance? Oh, avoidance. What would that be? Target creature can't attack. Target creature can't block. Target creature can't block. Avoidance. That's my guess. Vicious Mockery. That's going to be goad a creature. It has to attack, right? Blood Drain. That's do damage to a creature or give it minuses and gain life. Mantle of Inspiration, but they spelled mantle wrong. It's spelled M-A-N-T-E-L. Mantle of Inspiration. So, Mantle of Inspiration could, the mantle part of it could equal like +1/+, and +1/+1, and whenever this creature deals damage to a player, draw a card. That's what I'm going to say for Mantle of Inspiration. Animate Chains. Animate Chains sounds like a white spell to me that is designed to stop a creature from being able to attack or block. RFG, it's something like that. Death Ray could either be a black destruction spell, or it could be the ability of some kind of burn. Or, I guess, it could also be the flavor ability of another Beholder! That's, we're probably going to get some more Beholders, right? All right, finally, here are some creature type lines in the set, and I'm going to remind you guys, some of these creatures, we already know what they are. The cards have been spoiled. So, you know what? Maybe we'll talk about that in tonight's live stream. If you want to know what on this list we already know, we'll cover it tonight in the live stream. So, the creature type lines that are in this set, these are all legend. Every one I'm going to tell you are all legendary creatures. So, Halfling Knight, Tiefling Barbarian, Gith Warrior, Gith. We've got Dragon Peasant. Now that is a really crazy concept to me, because when you think of dragons, you think of epic, majestic beasts soaring through the skies. And specifically, like in Dragonlance and things like that, dragons have like a fear that's innately built into them, where lesser beings are genuinely terrified of them. They can just feel this like palpable aura. You see it a lot in animes where a character just stops and starts sweating. Like the other one, it's just the waves of their presence rolling off of them, where lesser beings can feel their doom, right? So you have this situation where now you have a dragon peasant. So is this a peasant in a dragon society where there's so many dragons that, of course, we're going to have low-level peasant dragons? Or is this some kind of dragon who is masquerading as a peasant? And in this case, do the rest of the villagers have that kind of a feeling of fear emanating from him? Also, when it comes to Dungeons and Dragons, the dragons tend to have alignments, either good or evil in most cases, right? So is this a good or evil dragon? The dragon peasant concept is so flavorful that I could go on and on about it. But let us move on to the next option. We have a Vampire Elf Rogue. And vampire elves always feel like a really crazy concept to me, specifically in Dungeons and Dragons worlds, because elves are generally shown as being highly aligned with nature and life energy and what is natural. And vampires are very much the opposite of natural. They are unnatural. So something that is so representative of the natural world and something that's so representative of the unnatural world merging together creates this sort of absurd duality that is incredibly intriguing to me, right? So, I mean, I don't know what character this creature type is going to be on, but I really dig it. After that, we've got Bear Warrior. All right, cool. Like a big bear man warrior. I can get down with that. Most of the time when we get bears, they're non-humanoid style. Then we've got Devil Noble. All right. After that, we've got Human Boar. That's a wereboar, isn't it? Do we have any wereboars in Magic? Is this the first variation of that kind of lycanthrope we're getting? Man, wereboars! That's what it's got to be. That's cool. All right. After that, we got a cat devil. That's interesting. Is it going to be like full-on humanoid cat devil, like, what are they called? Rakshasas, those tiger demons? Or is it going to be like a regular house cat that has some kind of devil demonic aspect in it, right? That's funky. And then you've got the last creature type they have listed is Elephant Angel. And I'm not going to tell you the card, but I will tell you I've seen it, and the spoiler artwork is hilarious. This is probably the goofiest card in the entire set. But you never know. Sky's the limit, right? We got Minsk and Boo in the last set with the little hamster. Get him, Boo! Go for the eyes! I can't believe they put Minsk and Boo in and they didn't put Elminster. Anyways, I'm super stoked about Elminster. Now, go ahead, head on down to the comment section, put your guesses for whatever you think these cards are, and obviously for the ones you know as well. Thanks for coming by, my friends. Big shout out to all of my patrons for supporting the channel. And I will see you all for the next video or for tonight's live stream where we go over which of these cards we actually already know. Goodbye for now.